Hello, friends. Welcome to Level Up with Debbie Neal. I am your host. There is nowhere I would rather be than right here, right now with you. This podcast is all about leveling up in all aspects of our lives. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Together, we are leveling up. You ready? Hello, my Level Up family. Last week, we spoke about gratitude. Our business will be as full as our level of gratitude. When we focus on the good, when we give thanks, when we feel the gratitude to our core, here's what happens. Everything changes. And so I'd love to hear from you and know how applying gratitude has made a difference in leveling up your life. Today, we're going to go over a topic where I'm going to be giving you some tips for presenting, for speaking in public. Speaking in public can mean speaking to 3 people, right? That's public, or 40,000 people. And it doesn't need to be your dream or your vision to be a public speaker. But the reality is, if you're looking to level up your success, you are a public seller. You're selling yourself every day. How we present our business, how we present ourselves, it matters. In fact, it's everything. So here's what's really interesting and possibly a little bit of a scary statistic, okay? When people are asked their number one fear, right, or their top 10 fears, I should say, public speaking, it's number 1. Okay. And number 2 is death by fire, right? So you can see how most people think that they don't love speaking in public. Now, to be fair, I'm thinking of somebody who's actually given the choice to public speak or death by fire, they would absolutely choose to speak. But this is just what people like listed off randomly as their top fears. So let's change that. It's really important to change that. And this ties into like the solution or the way to change it ties into so many podcasts that I've done before. Confidence, showing up, passion, energy. As we grow and expand in each one of these areas, you know what happens? Our skills in public speaking, they increase. And this is why it's so important to do the internal work on ourselves. Personal growth is so often overlooked by so many. As we build us, we build our public speaking, and we build our skills in presenting. So here are my 5 top tips to level up the way we present and the way we are speaking and portraying our thoughts and our vision and our tips to other people. Okay. Number 1, develop a vision. You guys know me. We talk about vision all the time. So when we think about giving a presentation, when we think about speaking in public, like, what are you speaking about? Are you in sales? Are you a coach talking to a team? What are you creating? Where are you going? Visionaries, we're constant creators. We see what we want. We see with our imagination. We create a future reality that lights us up. And with vision, you're building a mindset as if it's already happened. You've already won the game. You've already created the business and the life and the dreams that you desire. You've met that goal. You're creating that vision. You see your goals and dreams as a fact. As a result, you begin speaking from a place of belief. Your belief transforms, right? So belief morphs into conviction. That's what it becomes. Like belief is like the cocoon, and then it turns into conviction. And when we speak with conviction, people listen. They're drawn to us. They become drawn to what we have to say. Conviction builds respect. People might not always want to join you or buy from you. However, they are more apt to listen when your words, when your presentation is backed with vision and conviction and belief and packed with confidence. So be developing that vision for what you want to deliver every single day. Number 2, practice. We aren't born naturally good. I mean, nobody comes out of the womb and they're like, yes, look at that baby. They're going to be great at presenting. They're going to be a great public speaker. No, It takes effort. Now, yes, some people have a personality that's maybe more dynamic, or we all start with different levels of confidence, but this can all be built. It takes effort. It takes commitment. It takes a decision to become one. I'm going to decide that I'm going to build the skills to be a good presenter, to be a good public speaker. It takes practice. I remember starting my business, almost 60, actually, by the time you guys listen to this, it's going to be in my 16th month. My 16th year. I practiced every day for hours. I stood in front of a mirror. I went through the entire presentation. I would line my kids up. I would line pillows up. I would ask my kids to clap or give me a thumbs up if it was good. And then when I would talk in front of a mirror, often by myself, right? I would ask myself questions when I was done. Deb, do you believe you? Like, do you believe you? Because belief has a sound. Like, when you're done talking, are you convinced? I don't want to use the word convince because I don't convince people, but I do want to share belief, right? But I would ask, because sometimes I'm like, you know what, Deb? No, I didn't believe you. Do it again. It wasn't backed with conviction. I would ask, like, would you join you? So I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself in like the third person. Would you join you after that presentation you just heard? Mind you, I'm giving the presentation and answering the questions, okay? Would you listen to you? Would you buy the products that you're sharing? How was your body language, Deb? How was your eye contact? Are you excited? Was the presentation too long? Can you follow you? And meaning, like, you know, you sometimes listen to somebody talk and you're like, who's on first? What's on second? What are they talking about? I'm not really sure. I lost the point. So I would ask myself the question, like, can you follow you? Can an audience follow you? Are you inspiring? Gosh, did you say the word, or there's other like filler words that comes from nerves, right? So I would really ask these questions of myself over and over. I'd record myself. I would do like an audio. I got myself a free, I think it was freeconferencecall.com that I used for years, and I would record myself and I would listen. I would hear, good evening, everyone. My name is Debbie Neal. And I would go through the whole presentation. I would do the presentation in the mirror. I would videotape myself. I would watch it back because you know what? When we're talking and we're lost in the moment, we don't really like know how we're showing up, our body language. So I would really critique it, and not to bring myself down, but to empower myself with the tools and the feedback to be better. I wanted to be better. And then when I would videotape myself, I would even turn the sound down when I watched it back, because with the sound on, I heard one thing. But then you know how it is, like when you turn off a sense, like one of your senses. So I turned down the sound, but then I heard something else. I saw something else. I was like, wow, like I love to speak. So sometimes I am a passionate speaker. I've got a lot of passion, but if I'm not smiling and you turn the sound down, you could think I'm yelling at you, right? Because you could get that look of like, on a field, maybe like playing a win. And I always want to play to win, but I don't want to look at somebody and scare them to death, right? So I would turn down the sound to truly see and feel my body language. And I would say, like, did I look mad? Sometimes I did. And they're like, you got to smile. So was I smiling over and over? And so I remember, I'm going to share with you guys one of my first public speaking experiences. And it was probably in front of like, I don't know, 200 or 300 people. And I was about a month into starting my business, and I had a really great start, beginning month. It wasn't typical. It wasn't average. Like, it was like kind of freakish, to be honest. But I was like ignorance on fire, and I was so excited, and I was sharing what I was doing with everybody, and I was pumped. And so after this first month happened, like, people in my company and my business were like, you have to hear from this girl, and she's going to share her story. But I didn't know that I was sharing my story. I didn't know. We communicated everything through email. Maybe I didn't read. Maybe nobody told me. I don't know what the case was, but like, people drove from hours to come to this meeting to say, what did this girl do when she first started her business? Like, people came with their pens and their papers, and they were ready to learn. And guess what, you guys? I wasn't prepared. I also wore a blue silk shirt. Just so you know, sweat goes through silk. And I don't really consider myself a sweater. You know how some people sweat more than others? Like, I could exercise for hours and I don't sweat the way somebody else could sweat if they're working out for 10 minutes. So I didn't consider myself a sweater till this day. And I had a blue shirt on. It was silk. And I remember they made this whole big intro about somebody. And I'm like looking around. You guys, to me, that was normal. I didn't know that what I had created was a little bit freakish. And I'm looking around. I'm like, who are they talking about? And then all of a sudden they call me up to the front of the room and they were like, and this person is going to explain what they did and how they did it and all of these things. And I go up in front of the room, you guys, and I stood there and I was like, my name is Debbie Neal and this is what I did. And this is what I thought was normal. And thank you for coming. And I'm not even kidding. I don't remember my exact words, but I spoke about 2 minutes. I didn't offer any value. I certainly didn't look confident. There was nothing to take notes on. All of these people drove and I was like, okay. And then I sat down and realized this is going to be a journey. Like I really need to improve. I need to get comfortable and engage. Right. So for my first 2 years, when I really look back on my journey, for my first 2 years, I loved to speak and my business grew and my vision grew and I was speaking all over the place. And I would always, even if I was giving like a small business presentation, even if there was only 10 people there, I'm like, do you have a podium? I was always looking for a podium and like, I didn't know why. Now I did carry my notes for a year, but I was always looking for a podium. And I think the story I was telling myself at the time was that it was like very powerful to stand behind a podium. But one day I got feedback. And that's why it's also really important. We're going to talk about this in the next podcast that I'm going over is actually the next podcast is like 10 things that require zero talent. And one of them is being open to feedback. So I was like, I got the feedback of like, why do you, and if there wasn't a podium there, I'd ask for like a table. I'd be in somebody's house and I'd have to stand behind a table. But with the feedback that I got was, it was me actually creating a barrier between me and the audience. And my first reaction was like, no, I'm not. No, like I'm used to that. And then I was like, no, I guess that is what I'm doing. I'm keeping them at bay. I'm not being approachable. So that's again, go with feedback. I would carry my notes for a full year. I knew my notes. And if you need to do that, that's okay. Like I would carry about a bunch of bullet points. Who am I? What do I do? What am I selling? Where am I going? Why are you here? What is my business? What is my company? And I would carry those things. This way, if I got nervous or I got lost, I could look down. But that also became a security blanket for me, right? And so every time I was removing a security blanket, I was stepping more and more out of my comfort zone and into my growth zone. I remember one time there was somebody who was very successful in my industry and he heard me speak in front of, I don't know, maybe it was like 1,000 to 2,000 people. And then I came off and I was talking with different people that were there at the event and I didn't realize it. But while I was talking to all of these people, my arms were crossed. Now, again, public speaking wasn't just me on the stage talking to 1,000 or 2,000 people. Public speaking is me getting off that stage and talking to one person, 2 people, 3 people, right? It's speaking in public to other people. And my arms were crossed the entire time. And again, it was like we always have like different nervous habits or things that make us feel comfortable. But what I was really doing, again, goes in line with what I was doing with the podium. I was keeping people at bay. So this is where it's like all part of the journey and doing it over and over again. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's been a journey of practicing, learning, getting feedback, being open to feedback, and practicing in the dark. Number 3, be passionate. Passion, again, we don't come out of the room like we're passionate people. Now, again, that's why we always say don't compare, because somebody could start something today and 2 people can start something today that both involve presenting or public speaking, and somebody else could be much better than somebody else. It's not necessarily a natural talent. You don't know what they did before. You don't know how much personal growth they've been doing. You don't know how much confidence they've been building. You don't know the passion that they've been creating in their personal life and in their professional life. But this is a skill that we can build. And when you're presenting, when you're giving a presentation, when you're speaking in public, being passionate makes a difference. People follow people with passion. Passion is energy. It's a high vibe and it's a really high level of energy. People are drawn to energy. So I'm sure you've heard this, but in case you haven't, people may forget what you say, but they will never forget the way you make them feel. And this comes from passion. Too often we're so hung up on the perfect thing to say that we get lost in the information. And clearly information is important. But people today, they're looking more for information inspiration. They're looking to be inspired to move, inspired to leave their fears at the door, inspired to take a leap of faith and courage into the unknown or possibly something new. Are you speaking into their heart? Are you speaking to their soul? Being passionate means you're building your passion. It comes from practicing. It comes from building your vision daily, doing the do, creating success. You have to be willing to be bad, to be good. You have to be willing to be good, to be great, and great to amazing. Okay. Number 4, show up wherever you're going, whether you're talking to one person, 2 people, 10 people, 40,000 people. Show up like the best presenter in the world. So I did a podcast a few weeks back on showing up. Showing up like a professional is really important. So beauty is self-confidence that's glowing from the inside. That's my definition of beauty. How we dress matters. And you guys, you don't need to be making $1 million to dress your very best. I remember when I first started my business, and I say this all the time, I was out of corporate America for 5 years. I had overalls and Keds in my closet, and I went to Ann Taylor. That's where I shopped at the time. I went to the sale rack. I bought 3 outfits that made me feel like a professional, like black slacks, navy slacks, a few different tops, shoes. And I wanted to show up like a professional. How we dress matters. How we do our hair matters. And I love it when people say, because there's this new word, authentic. Okay. And I like that word. I do like that word, but I don't want to confuse that word with staying inside our comfort zone. So so if somebody would like show up kind of maybe not at their best, and they say, but I'm showing up authentically as me. Like, what does that mean? Because are you authentically disheveled and not put together? So you might want to create a new level of authentic. People confuse this. I mean, that's how you'll see people. They transform when they grow. They change their from the inside out. That's what transformation is. And it doesn't just come from what we eat or products that we use. A big part of it is our level of conviction and belief and professionalism and all of this stuff that comes from the inside. So if we look at the word authentic, go back to the word authentic, my true authentic self, I love sweatpants. I love no makeup. I love to chill. I love to be in my comfort clothes. But guess what? That's not the authentic Debbie Neal that's going to show up to present. I don't show up to present that way. It's not appealing to those who'd be listening, and it certainly doesn't build my confidence. So show up in your best. Look the part. It will, because also remember this, your vibe attracts your tribe. So when people say, I really want to have this vision of, building a team of professionals that are beautiful and handsome. And again, I'm not just talking about the physical. I'm talking about the confidence, right? You need to show up that way because you're going to attract what you're giving off. Stand tall, shoulders back, smile, speak clearly, be articulate. Use your notes if you need to. If you're nervous, if you're getting in front of one person, 3 people, 10 people, 100 people, and you feel nervous, let them know. It's okay to say, you know what? I have to tell you, I am nervous. I am shaking like a leaf, but I'm so happy to be here. That's what I'm talking about when we're saying being authentic. Because it's letting your guard down. You can relax a little bit, right? Speak from your heart. Don't get so caught up in perfection. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So just be present. Allow your love and your vision and your belief to shine. Number 5, do it as often as you can. Every single time you get a chance, stand up in front of people. Let them see you. Speak. Be heard. Expand in your space. Give presentations as often as you can. Commit to adding opportunities to share what you do and who you are with as many people as you can, as often as you can. This is the best way to improve. Too often people wait for perfection. We can practice all we want, but the real lesson is in the real activity. Do it. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to get criticism. Nobody is ever going to criticize you who's doing more than you. Okay. The only people that are criticized are the ones doing less. Okay. Don't be afraid to be bad. You're on a journey. Presenting is a big part of leveling up. It's how you communicate. It's how you share your vision and your passion. It's how you develop others. It's how you inspire others. And this comes from putting in the work. So often to improve in anything, we avoid the work that it actually takes for the improvement to take place. To speak better, to present better, takes doing it as often as we possibly can. Don't avoid it. Like head on, right? Because time is going to pass anyway. Remember this, as amazing as your company is, as amazing as your products are, as amazing as your team is, you're selling you every day. You have exactly what it takes to speak with conviction and passion. You have exactly what it takes to speak to a small group or a large crowd. Speakers aren't born with talent. They build the skill. I am calling on your greatness. Don't avoid it. Don't hide behind someone who's willing to speak for you or present for you. The game will change when you decide to present and speak. So Wednesday, we go over affirmations, right? On Wednesday, I'm going to tie the affirmation episode to this episode, and we're going to be going over affirmations for speaking in public. So go out today and share your story, present your idea, share your business, and be willing to commit to the work. Next full podcast we're going to be going over is I'm going to be going over 10 things that require zero talent. So that's exciting. We could all do it and yet have the potential to level up every single thing in our life. So I believe in you. Have a great day.